School is the most important thing in your life. And while I hate school, I got a PhD. And I hate school. I hate everything about it. So somebody say, E, if you hate school so much, why you get a PhD? Because I hate school, but I love options. You can have average skill, but you can't have average will. You can't have average will. Like your will has to be phenomenal. You have to see basketball as the gateway. It's like a passport. Basketball is just your way to get in, and then once you get in, boom, then you dominate. So I'm telling you, you're not taking a test because they're giving you the test. You're taking a test that's about to change your life, your mama's life. And I know if you take the test serious, you'll kill it. When you go through your go-through, your siblings are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your friends are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your parents are watching you. And people will use your strength to get through their stuff.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy E.T. Look, super excited as always, man. Man, just life, man. You know, I was blessed. I was back in my alma mater, and man, in teacher mode. I had the babies in Moran Hall for a couple hours, just, you know what I'm saying, just getting it in. And so, man, as educators, what a life, you know, what an opportunity. Here I am, you know, with a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds in my presence, and I know that I have the ability to transform their lives. You know what I'm saying? People say sometimes education, you know, some people might say is, you know, inspirational or academic, whatever, but I like to believe it's transformational. You know, like we literally have the ability to transform lives. And so we're back with the Extreme Teacher Podcast. You know what it does. We have three major focuses. Number one, we want to inspire you. Why? Because we need to be inspired. You know, people kill me when they say, "Oh, it's just motivation." Okay, it's just gas. You know what I'm saying? It's just electricity. You know what I'm saying? Like a house can't be a home without electricity, right? So we're here to give you that boost that you need. Number two, information changes situations. I'm sorry. Apply information changes situations, and I just know. Man, I'm telling y'all, my life is so different because of the people that I'm around and the information that I'm getting, and I'm applying it, and it's unbelievable. And then finally, you know, you need somebody to have your back, and so sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to lean on. You know, we want to be that podcast. We want to be that. We want to be that place, that space that you can come to, write your comments, email us. You know, the soapbox, like come to us, right? Because we're going to take it and not, you know what I'm saying? Some people you talk to, they talk negative, and then there's more negative talk, and there's more negative talk, and there's more negative talk, and then you end up destroying the very thing that you were blessed with, right? I love my circle of influence because when you go talking that negative talk, they redirect you quickly. CJ redirect you quickly. TJ, Didi redirect you. They'll know what I'm talking about. Didi redirects you quickly, right? And so that's important because we all go through it. But when you start talking negative and you start talking negative to negative people, you'll wake up. And I want to say this, y'all, as we get started. I had a friend of mine who he went to Oakwood with me. He's probably a little bit younger. And he came to me and was like, "E man, thank you." When I finished speaking Saturday. And I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "Yo, I'm guilty of talking bad about our school." He's like, "I'm guilty of it." You know what I'm saying? "I'm guilty of Oakwood ain't this, Oakwood ain't that, it ain't what it used to be." And he was like, "I get it. That out of the mouth comes life and death." And he was like, "I need to start speaking life about this school if I want it to be back to what it used to be." And I was like, absolutely. So come to us with your complaints. Please come to us with it. And I promise y'all, we're gonna redirect you. What's the website? I'm saying come, but what's the website that we use, or where do they go to write us? Is there a specific place?
Yep. You can go to info@extremeteachers.com and you can send us an email, and the website is extremeteachers.com.
Good. I love it. All right. So as always, Katie, talk to us. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, we've been talking SEL lately. So how do we help make sure that we are taking care of our kids emotionally? And specifically today, we've talked a lot about relationship building. Today, we're going to talk about how do we relationship build with families. So not just students, but families. Why is that so important? And how do we as the educational community make sure we are really building bridges, building relationships with the families of our students?
Yeah, let me tell y'all something. Man, if you're listening, especially if you're a teacher or administrator, like it is so critical to get parents involved. In my dissertation, one of the things that in the research that I was doing that was frightening was how much of a role parental involvement and parental expectations were in a child's success. Like it was, man, it was crazy. What it showed was, for those kids whose parents loved education and or um, went to college, right? Graduated from high school, went to college, spoke highly of school. Those kids had 3 to 4 more of a chance of actually doing well in school versus parents who, didn't have any academic expectations for their children, who didn't talk about school or hold their kids accountable to what was going on in the school. A lot of those kids, unfortunately, dropped out of high school or didn't excel in school. So teachers, do me a huge favor. Pass this podcast to the parents. Okay, administrators, if you're listening, like this is the one we need you to copy and paste and just send to all your parents because they need to hear this. Now, I want to start with Sam because Sam, you have a unique experience in that all of us as educators have been taught to get parents involved, but you with the Costa Rica project were taking kids out of the country. So you had to get parents involved, you know what I'm saying, in a very aggressive way. Like you can't just be taking their babies out the country without their parents knowing about it. So talk to us. What was that experience like? And what are some of the things you can share with teachers to do to actually build this rapport with their parents?
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't think any parent is going to let their child go out of the country without having that trust with the adult or the educator that's doing that. And so also a fun fact for any child that's under 18, in order to get a passport, they have to have whoever signed the birth certificate present with them as they apply for the passport. So when you're talking about that, there can be some background, some things that I didn't know just as an educator, that you have to build that trust to say, okay, do you need help writing a letter because this is the circumstance and that parent isn't able to show up, or that parent is, deceased or whatnot. So I think it really goes back to that, like trust building as educators, like engaging with parents really as a key component of the education process, because we are a village. Like we are a village, even as a parent, like the parent needs educators and coaches and all of that. And as a teacher, like we're just a part of the village, and we can learn so much from that relationship with the parents and what the relationship is between the parents and the students. So I think just like, of course, like non-traditionally, like we're hosting parent meetings and whatnot and bringing parents together and facilitating team building activities. And parents are naturally, like I always say, for the Costa Rica project, the parents are the MVP. Like this would not happen without the parents, and making sure that they know that, and they are the center, because nothing's happening without them. So I would just say, like, one tip in general that I have is getting to know the parents as people and humanizing yourself as well. And, when you talk to them, when you see them, when you reach out to them, like ask them how they're doing, see what's going on with their life. If you're at a sporting event or a school event, like go sit next to them. Don't just stay in your comfort zone. Like, oh, I'm going to be around these 3 teachers that I always talk to, but go sit next to them. How's your day going? How's it going? I'm cheering for your baby too. So I think that's just like one quick tip that I have when you're
I like that. I'm cheering for your baby too. I like that.
Love it.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's a t-shirt. I'm cheering for your baby too. I would say any teacher who's listening, you might want to just turn that into a billboard and put that in your classroom, or right outside of your door. So when parents come to your room, they see I'm cheering for your baby too. And don't mess around and have a chart that says, a big billboard that says I'm cheering for your baby too, and have the names of those babies on that chart. Oh man, let me tell you something. I walk into a teacher room, I'm cheering for your baby too, and I see Jalen name on there and Jada name on there. Oh, we about to be close. I'm about to reach out and love on you. Hallelujah. So yeah, wow, that's huge. All right, Katie, for you, I mean, I know, your experience, for me is, very unique in that you're one of the first teachers that we're dropping our babies off to when it's kind of uncomfortable, right? I dropped mine off at elementary. I promise you. I don't think it was until middle school that I really start relaxing. Like, all right, they're going to school. They're not going to get killed. They're not going to die. They're going to come home. They're going to be all right. But elementary, I was kindergarten, first grade, second. I was very much up at the school. I was especially when Jada went to school, I was up there on the reg to make sure that, the teachers were being fair. The little boys weren't putting their hands on my baby girl, and so talk to us. Again, like I said, I was an educator, so I know what goes on in the school, and I was very present for both of them, but Jada more specifically. And Dee, it was tough for her to drop Jalen off that first year. So what do you suggest that teachers do, and what's been your experience, as it relates to parental involvement and getting parents involved?
Yeah, definitely at the elementary level, it's kind of a different beast than the communication we do at the high school and middle school level. But really, I mean, my biggest advice is just to over communicate. I know I've said that before, but over communicate. And as a parent, right, I have a 5-year-old, so I'm in that space. You were just talking about dropping him off right now. I'm telling you, on the first day of school, my husband and I totally sat in the parking lot and like watched him on the playground until he went inside. Now you're gonna do it too. She's laughing at me, but she's gonna do it too.
That's how she is.
So we watched until he was in that building. We are like, okay, I guess we have to leave now. Because parents want to know what's happening, right? They want to know what's going on in there. And especially, I would say this year more than ever, a lot of schools have policies where parents cannot come in the building. So that's my district where my kids are at, which I appreciate. They're trying to keep everybody safe. So that's okay. But it means that you have to communicate more because the parents aren't seeing the things that they used to. Kindergartners, in the past, when kindergartners would be picked up from school, their parents would walk in to get them. And I would say, just like Sam was talking about, hey, how are you? How was your day going? Oh, you're taking him to soccer tonight. And we don't get that communication right now because the parents cannot come in the school building because they're trying to keep the germs out. So over communicate and do that in a way that is approachable for families. So if they don't want all the over communication, right, they can just like skim it over and get the details. They don't have to read every word, but give them lots of information because that's the best way for you to be able to work as a team. The more information, the better. And then lastly, I'll just throw like a couple quick tips too. Make it easy for yourself because teachers, we know you are overwhelmed. We have all been there. We don't want to give you more things to do. But this one is going to make an impact and make your life easier. So communicate in a way that's easy for you and for the families. So I know Remind is an app that a lot of teachers use. It's kind of like texting. That's like an easy way to send a message. I always had a classroom website where I would put information on there. And the reason I liked that is because the information lived on there forever. So if I posted something, this is what we did this week, and then I move on each week, the families, if they forget, they can scroll up and look it up on the website. So it's all in one spot. But whatever is easiest for you, make it easy for you, but give them lots of information.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Nell, talk to us, Nell. Talk.
Yeah, I taught the older kids, the high school kids. So a lot of what we're talking about is after you actually have a working number for for a parent. Half of my battle was just getting a working number. Because you got to think about it, high school teenagers, 9 through 12, like a lot of these kids, and as it relates to parents, and they're on autopilot, and not necessarily in a bad way, but I mean, they're not having to walk their kids to the restroom. They're not changing diapers. They're not, in pull-ups. They're, they can eat on their own. They can go get food. I mean, half of them are in cars. So it's kind of different. And so you have to like be creative just to even get that actual contact information to begin with. There are a lot of times where I have literally called the parent while the kid was in the classroom and the kid's cell phone rung. So
that's good. That's good.
That is awesome.
And I'm like, yo, hey, did you really just so So you want to reach out first with something to praise the kid about,
Yeah.
so that the kid has some motivation to actually give you real contact information. You want to show the kids that you care about their safety. Hey, look, I know y'all go off campus. I know like stuff happens. God forbid something happened in this classroom or something happened to you, and we could not actually get a hold of somebody like a caregiver or your parent or a guardian. Like, I know that y'all don't want these teachers blowing y'all parents up, but we have to have a working number. And a lot of times they'll be like, Miss, don't put this on the school records, but I'll get this to you. and I've had the nurse actually contact me knowing that I had the real
I
numbers.
love that.
So you have
Those got the keys.
you got to be creative as it relates to reaching out, to these parents initially, just to get real contact information. With the kindergartners, you can put that note on the backpack, or the parents are just overzealous because your kids are babies. But when they're in high school, you got to get creative.
That's good, Nell. That's good. Oh, Nell, that's good. That's good. I personally don't want to answer my phone when I think it's negative. I'm just being real. I'm saying I'm grown. If I look at a call and it's like, man, it's gonna be some drama. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be negative, or it's gonna take me off of my little high that I'm on. I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I'm not answering that, But you said something deep. How many people call with good news? Like, how many people call affirming the child, saying something positive about the child? That's good. Now, if y'all listening, that's big right there, because if you call me and go, hey, text me, answer your phone, I got a Chipotle gift card for you. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm like, let me get that. Talk to me. What you got for me? Is it 30? Is this a $50 increment? What are we dealing with right here? So, man, that was good. Now, Auntie Val, talk to us. Parental involvement.
Look, we changed it to social emotional leadership. The leadership part. But y'all know I'm good. I looked it up, and it says socially constructive positive intervention. Positive intervention. So I had just because days. I would call parents just because. There was nothing wrong. And I didn't even talk about the kid. I talked about them. They mattered. So I would just call and say, hey, what's going on? And they would go, what'd he do? I said, I am not the Grim Reaper. Stop acting like that. I call you. It's not always something wrong. So I had to condition them to understand that every time I called, it wasn't because something was
that's
wrong.
Good. That's good.
And they began to respect that. So I just had days where I would just put on my calendar. It was arbitrary. It wasn't like every Tuesday. So they're like, okay, she's gonna call. But I did that, and it changed it. But how did I get my list? From the previous year, I call them angels. They're all angels. Satan was an angel too. So I had That's right. Come on. I had my angel list, and before they flapped their wings, I would call, and I kept it right here, and I kept that list with the numbers. I didn't have to look them up. I didn't have to go in the system and get them. I had to call. My list was right here, and me too, Nell. I was the one that had the real numbers. I had the real numbers, and the parents they loved it though. But here's the thing. We got this Huxtable thing going on. Like, when it's parent-teacher conference, it's like, oh, well, the older kid will stay home with the younger kid, and mom will come for parent-teacher conference. Now, she might have 5 kids under that baby that you have. So you want her to come in for parent-teacher conference. What's she gonna do with the 5 kids? Now you mad because when they come into your room, parent-teacher conference, the rest of them running around. But have you thought about those other pieces? Meet them where they are. You said he sent emails, they work off text. So meet them where they are. Katie, I use Remind. Simplest thing I ever did for buses. You signed up for bus 1, you signed up for bus 2. If the bus was running late, I just sent a text. That was the simplest thing we did, and it was free. Remind.
Yeah, it is free.
Right.
Still free.
Exactly. And that was the simplest thing we did was communicate. And I did a post on the Extreme Teachers page this week that said, if you really talk to your parents on a regular basis, do you need parent-teacher conference?
Right.
I had some teachers pushing back and parents, but those are the parents that come. The parents you really want to come to parent-teacher conference don't come.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. So you have to create the communication strand way before that day. Because guess what? What parent want to, this is my opinion, right? What parents want to come to school for parent teacher conference and all of his baby teachers lined up to just shooting at him?
Crucify. Crucify.
They're taking him off, right? One by one. Who wants to hear that? But if you communicate on a regular basis, that is so important. And do it just because. Just because. So I came up with things like create a open gym and have some of the high school, we was at middle school, but have some of the high school kids or other teachers' aides to monitor the gym or the cafeteria where they can play games so the parents can go to parent-teacher conference. You have to fulfill a need to get what you want. Just
Absolutely.
like you do with your babies. Fulfill a need. And they'll come to parent-teacher conference. They'll do other things. Guess what? Just me. Why not have parent-teacher conference on a Saturday? Why not? Most parents are off on Saturdays. Take a day off the week. They'll take one of the days from the week, or give teachers an off day and compensate and do it on Saturday when most parents are off. Do one on Friday, one on Saturday, because all parents can't take off. But you got to meet the parents where they are as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Real quick, because this is what I noticed in high school. So we're talking about parents, and parents are really, in general, they're an advocate. So whoever the guardian is, it's a lot of times it's an older sibling, it's an aunt, a lot of times it's a grandma. Right. It just comes down to that person being an advocate. And this is what I learned. I made a terrible assumption that all kids in high school specifically were at this certain level of maturity, were at this certain level of, responsibility. And in my first year, I had to deal with some things that I just didn't think I would have to deal with. For instance, like a kid missing their school, like their bus, and being like distraught and not having any ability to get themselves home. Like, I think they had just moved to that place. They didn't know the address. They didn't know the area. Their ability to speak fluent English was very little. And this was like they were lost. They were in school and lost and had no way to get home. And what it taught me was that there are a lot of kids who are missing advocates. And that has nothing to do with what kind of parent it is, what they got going on. The simple fact is every kid needs an advocate. And, as teachers, it is what it is. We have to be superheroes. And sometimes we have to advocate for certain kids more than others because they don't have an advocate. Yep. And so you can't make assumptions about what kind of home the kid is coming from, what kind of support they have. You have to ask questions and get real answers. And you got to put your human glasses on and really look. Because a lot of times you don't really have to ask a lot of questions, but if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it.
That's good. Yeah.
And so you have to make sure you're seeing the kids with the right lens. Kids who come to school in the same clothes, kids who come to school in dirty clothes, kids, you see them in the first couple of weeks and they look like they're getting thinner. Like, you have to pay attention to these kids because you just never know what's going on at home.
Now you said something. Now you said, and sometimes as educators, we look at the shoes on their feet and we think, well, the mama bought Jordans, she should be able to do this. You don't know where them Jordans came from. You don't know. And sometimes you look at that. My son, who I adopted, my son came to school clean every day. Didn't know he was hustling. When it came to parent anything, didn't happen. Didn't know he was hustling till I started looking. And every time I asked about parent something, he said, she don't care. And I'd be like, what you mean your mama don't care? Till I met her and she said it. I don't care. That's where he got it from. So yeah. And
I want to say, I'm sorry, Sam.
No, just real quick, something that's like maybe more traditional to elementary schools that we did in high school, and it's not gonna, not every parent or a guardian or a family member is gonna want to do this, but we did teacher home visits in high school. And the educators would be able to go and just connect with the family. It was kind of like the first one was just introduction. We're not going to talk about grades. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to come, greet you. Hey, how you doing? Here's some information just about our school and making that connection. And then we would do a family dinner. So then, going back to what now Auntie Val was saying, I'm the teacher that we've got a good relationship. You at least have a really great relationship with one teacher at the school. I'm not as nervous or scared to come up to the school. So we'd have a dinner. So we bring all the parents up, have a dinner. And it was actually a specific program called the Teacher Home Visit Program that would, sponsor the dinner for us and train us on how to go to the home. And then the second visit would be, we'd go in, and that's when we start talking about grades and just seeing how we could support the students. So, there was the buildup of that trust. And I found that, I learned so much more about my students than I think I ever would have, just seeing them every day.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Well, we got a special guest before we go here, though, guys. We have a special guest. I told you guys that, we're going to bring in superstar educators because I believe, again, man, I wish I could, I wish I could take all of my experience and my exposure and give it to you. You guys know where I come from. When I tell you I am where I am because of the information that I've gotten, and that's what we want to do for you. We want to bring the right people with the right information in front of you, because if you're not stubborn or prideful, I promise you, you're going to hear things from other people that if you apply that stuff to your life, man, it's going to take you, it's going to take you to a whole nother level. So we got a special guest, but I do want to say this to my parents, right? Please send this podcast right now to your parents, right? But I want to say to the parents, it is your responsibility to have an academic vision for your babies.
I love that.
Right? That's your responsibility. All right. I don't care. Like I told you, I have one part of my mom is 14. My grandma had 14 children. Only 3 out of the 14 graduated from high school. Right? Only 3. My mother was one of the 3 of the 14 that graduated. Right? My mom didn't get to go to college. Okay. My mom, I love my mom to life. My mom did not have an academic vision for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't have, my mom was just like, just finish school and go get a job at Ford, GM, like whatever. Go to the post office, whatever. My mom, I love my mom, but she didn't have that vision for me. My biological father was in my life, so of course he didn't have a vision for me. His mom, my grandma, loved me to life. My grandma came to all my stuff. I never remember my grandma or my auntie sitting me down talking about school other than just going. Parents, have an academic vision for your children, right?
Good.
So my parents did as much as they could do. My family did as much as they could do. But for Jalen and Jada, I had a plan: Oakwood or Michigan State University. Like, it was like they knew from day one, you either going to Oakwood, you're going to Michigan State University, you're going to college. And believe it or not, my daughter's about to finish her master's. She didn't really want to go to college. And it had nothing to do with her academic ability, even though she was admitted on academic provision. My daughter struggled. She had a deficiency in math and in science, right? But because Jada, when you talk AQ, I know we talk IQ, intelligence, we talk EQ, emotion, but AQ, adversity quotient. Like, my baby girl AQ is high. She a dog. She's a go-getter. I don't care if she has a deficiency. She gonna get up early. She gonna go to bed late. She'll do whatever it takes. And sometimes having a strong will is just as important or equally as important as having a strong skill, right? And so I had a plan for him. She eventually wants to get her PhD. My son, he like, Dad, I got a 4-year degree. I'm done. I'm like, that's cute. But as you get older, I still want you to think through getting a degree in sports, whatever, so that you can be an agent in the NFL or in the NBA. So I'm not telling you to do it right now, but I still have a vision for you. And that's why would you work with these athletes and not be certified? So you can go get a master's degree. There's a program in Cleveland specifically. You can go get a degree there, less than 2 years. You can put yourself in a position where you could be certified as an agent in the NFL or the NBA and take. So I'm just saying to all my parents out there, I don't care if you went to school or not. That has nothing to do with your babies. Have a vision for them and then push that vision. So I'm going to step back. I want to let Val introduce our next guest, even though I've known this guest for years and years. But we're going to do things in decency and order. Val, you'll introduce our guest. and then we'll take it from there.
Look, y'all, when I think superstar, I think of her when it comes to education. But what got me about Ebony was her passion.
Yeah.
When I first met Ebony, we're having a conversation about students and she started crying. And I'm like, okay, wait, we got teachers that care that much still? She's crying. I'm like, yes. So her passion is obvious, and y'all gonna hear the energy. First time I met her, she was like, hey, how are you? She just came in strong, and she takes that into the classroom. I feel like I've been in her classroom. Of course,
Me
y'all,
too. Yeah.
extreme teacher. I just want y'all to know she is one of our certified extreme teachers. I want y'all to meet Miss Ebony Holland. Hey, Ebony.
Hi! You have me crying already.
I knew it. I knew it. What's going on, sis?
I'm okay. Oh, I'm so happy to be here, and you got me crying. I didn't want to cry today.
You a crybaby. You know you was gonna cry. You a crybaby.
I know. But I'm so excited to be here. I watch you guys all the time, and I'm like, I get to be on the podcast.
No doubt.
Yay!
We're glad you're here.
You know what?
So glad you're here.
What we probably need to do, you know those times, you have like those alternative superstars that like when you have one of your major guests that can't be there, you replace them with the superstar. Now I gotta say this, guys. Of course, show them your book again, Ebony. She has a book. You don't have to have a book to be on the show, but it does help to have a book to be on the show, right? She's published. Super excited. Ebony and I, we go way back. Valeria, when you talk about teaching, the reason why I'm so excited about it is because God gave me a vision originally not to send Jalen to public school, when he was young. He needed, a little bit more love and care, but I was traveling all over the world. So Ebony actually was one of Jalen's first teachers, right? And I've got this picture. Y'all will see it when you come to the house. It's her and her sisters and Jalen. So I don't even know if Jalen was 1 year. I don't even know if he was one at that time. So we go back. We're like family. Her mother practically raised Jalen and Jada when I would be on the road and Dee Dee was working. And so I'm super excited. Now, Ebony is one of those parents too. Her son, we call him Stinger. He just came to Oakwood. I'm blessed. He came when I spoke. Hopefully he comes to Oakwood. But she's got these pictures. Go online and look, y'all. She crying. She taking pictures of him getting on the bus like he in kindergarten. He a senior. And she cried. She got, she's showing the bus moving. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah. She got one. She'd be doing it if she had three. So Ebony, talk to the parents because I just thought that was so amazing that as an educator, you're also a parent. You're watching your son get on the bus and leave. You have so many parents who feel like, well, it's the teacher's job. It's the teacher's responsibility, right? And you are a teacher. Talk to parents about why you're still so involved and engaged, in your son's academic success.
I mean, I have to. I mean, just like you said, we have a plan for Stinger. And like you, my mom finished 3rd grade. And so single parent home, 6 kids. She had a plan. She had a vision. She knew what she wanted us to do because she didn't have that. So for Skip and I with Stinger, just with the one kid, I mean, I might be that helicopter parent, but I am also a teacher. And I'm so involved in his life. They said, you got to step back. I thought you were going to be the Ebony at Oakwood. I said, but I got people down there. I'm texting everybody. It's on his way down here. Look out for him. I know the teachers, just like Samantha was saying. Stinger went to Morocco when he was in 9th grade, but I knew those teachers. I talked to them. I knew their phone numbers. I gave them my number. So I was really, really engaged with the teachers as a parent. And
That's
so
good.
as and a teacher, I know the things that I want for my son. So I do those things for parents. They have my phone number. I send daily emails. I have a website. I have Remind. I'm running out to the parking lot, even though they can't come into the school right now, just to say, hey, when they call their names, hey, Stinger Holland, your ride is here. I'm running out to the parking lot to say, hey, I have your child in my class. I'm nice to meet you. You're a new parent here at the school. Having those communications and making sure that those avenues are open. And the teachers want to know that you're friendly, that you're approachable. And so that's who I am. I'm running out the school to say, hey, nice to meet you. What's your number? I mean, can I get your email? Because sometimes, like you say, they don't give the real emails or the real phone numbers. So you have to make yourself approachable to those parents as a teacher to make sure that those avenues of communication are open, and then they feel free and to talk to you about anything. And so when you may have to send those not so kind emails home, I mean, they're like, you know what can I do? How can I help you with this? What can I do for my child?
Yeah.
And so when you open the communication avenues up of everything, you have a good year. And like Sam said, with the dinners, once a quarter, we have a dinner for the parents. Let's get to know each other. And with the pandemic going on right now, it's kind of hard. But like I said, I'm running out with my mask, putting it on, running, trying to talk to the parent, just so I could get a face-to-face with the person to see what this person looks like and where this child came from, just to see, how many kids are in the family or whatever. So the avenues must be open for communication so you can have a great year.
So Ebony, let me ask you this though, real quick, because there are teachers that are like, man, I got so much to do, man, just to add something else to my plate. But how does knowing the parent help your practice as a teacher or help your relationship with the student? Because some parents are like, I don't need to know their parent. It don't have nothing to do with teaching. You do it for a reason. How do you feel like knowing them knowing you? How do you feel like that helps you with your practice?
It helps with my practice 100% because I can't teach your kid if I don't really know anything about you. So some of the habits that your kid has, I mean, they pick it up from the parents. And if you get to know who the parent is, then you can say, hey, this is where it's coming from. I see this attitude. I see the nonchalant. And for me, I'm very, very friendly. And sometimes I'm so friendly that it's like, wait, you're unreal. But that's just who I am. And when parents see that, I mean, even when I taught first grade, I gave them my phone number. I mean, you can text me at any time, but not before, after 8 o'clock, I'm going to sleep. And everybody knew that. And they respected my going to bed early because I needed my hours of sleep to deal with those kids the next day. But they understood that, hey, this teacher actually wants a relationship with me. And it's not just about my kid. I want a relationship with the parent as well, because the parent, if the parent respects me, then the kid will respect me. If the parent can say good things about me, that kid is going to say good things about me. And so I want you at home talking good things about me and not bad things about me.
I love it.
I feel like there's a changing of the guard. So there are two cartoons, Recess, and the teacher there was Miss Finster. Miss Finster is mean. Miss Finster, Miss Finster, and you doing exactly what and she kicking you out of classrooms and off the playground for no reason. And then there's the Magic School Bus, Miss Frizzle. Yeah. And there is a changing of the guard in education, and we are realizing that we have to move away from the Miss Finsters and into the Miss Frizzles. And I see it. I'm appreciative of it. But there are going to be some of those Miss Finsters that are just very, very reluctant to tap into their Miss Frizzle. And we can't say how important it is for you to go ahead and make that transition. Get whatever support you need to help yourself make that transition, but it matters and it's very, very important.
It does, because some of the teachers at schools that I've taught at, they're like, how do you not get into it with your parents? How do you never have a problem with your parents? I said, because I talk to them all the time. They know everything that's going on. You don't have to think about what your kid has to wear. If it's Spirit Day, your kid, he has a note, he has an email before he can get home. That parent is going to know what is going on. And even in middle school, I send those reminds. I send emails. I send on the website. All of those things are there. I'm even posting on my Instagram pages. Hey, this is what, and I run the school's Instagram page. So everything that you want to know is there. I'm not giving you a reason to say, you didn't tell me this, you didn't tell me that, I didn't know that, because you know. And the teachers are just like, you know what, maybe I just need to, just to really start talking. Yes, you got to start talking to these parents if you don't want to have a bad school year. And I never had bad school years because, look, I am communicating with my parents. They like me. I love them.
I love it.
I
Uh,
wanted to like me, so yes, that's what I did.
yeah. And Nell, what your young self know about the Magic School Bus?
I was
What you know
trying,
about
hey,
the Magic School Bus?
hey, just a little older than y'all think. Hey, just a little
I know.
older than
Hey,
y'all.
I know
They'll
how
say,
old
don't
you
look
are.
at this. Don't look at this.
I know how old you are. Good. Talk to me, guys. So, Ebony, we're going to let a couple folks get in, but I want you to talk about the book. Katie and I had an opportunity to read the book. Now, I gave it to Katie because Katie is the literacy lady, okay? She's all about reading, and Katie gave me the book back and was like, oh, and Katie will tell you, I did not gas you up. I didn't say we was family. I kept it real casual, and I said, hey, take this book. I want you to read this book. Tell me what you think about it. When she finished, like, oh, I absolutely love Ebony. I'm gonna call her. I was like, yes, that's what I was hoping would happen. And so talk to us about the book. When did you do the book? Why did you do the book? How in the world, as a teacher, as a parent, how do you have time to write a book? Talk to us.
This is my book. Oh, wrong side. This is the side. What is the name of it? Superstar Teacher, a guide to enhance creativity in the classroom. And this book has been inside of me probably all of my life. But over the last 5 years, I have been trying to write this book. But guess what? The pandemic was good to me. I had time on my hands to write this book. And so my husband said, you know what, Ebony, you got to pick up your computer and finish writing that book, because people need to hear what you have to say. And so this book is really what I do from day one all the way to the last day of school. I have written down everything that I did in my classroom as a first grade educator. And I know that this would help up to middle school, because middle school is like little stuff like that too. But this is from day one, what I did, from how to start the school year, what makes your school year begin, discipline, behavior. It talks about what we do in October. This month is fall. I make pumpkins. We make applesauce. I mean, we just did all of the good things. And if you just need any creativity, just a little spark, I'm not saying that you don't have creativity, but this is just something just to help enhance your creativity throughout the year. So you can go from August, what can I do in September? Oh, let me turn to September. Oh, we can make this in September. Oh, it's May. What can we do at the end of the school year? And you can find that in this book. I celebrate my kids. I don't care if they learn how to tie their shoe, if they learn how to say their verbs, whatever. I'm teaching songs. All these things are in this book. And, you know, I came from a single parent home with my mom. You know, she was on welfare with 6 kids and all those things. And so she wanted us to have an education because she didn't have that. And my mom, like Eric said one time, is a teacher. Even though she was not and didn't go to school, she taught them, and she taught them of Jesus too. And if you have Jesus in your life and you have that one thing in there, then you're gonna be great. And so my mom, her husband was Jesus, and she prayed us through.
Well, no question.
To college and got my master's in the state, all because of my mother. And I wanted to please her. I wanted to do that for her. And this book is for her. If you go on my page, you'll see my mom. She is in love with this book, and she tells everybody about it more than I do. But this is just to help any teacher, any beginning teacher, first of all, if you're going into the classroom and you just need a little bit of help, a little creativity, this is the book for you. Superstar Teacher, a guide to enhance creativity in the classroom.
Creativity and love. And Ebony's not gonna say that, but when she talks about her mom, like, my kids, man, I promise y'all, they still, if I say, hey, stop and call my Trotter, they think they cool. My son think he cool. So, certain things he don't do. But when I say Mama Trotter, he like Mama Trotter, because like Ebony said, she understood that the fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom, and she would whip them kids, but they loved her for the discipline. She fed those kids, she would feed them, and she put stuff in their food. Like, they was little babies eating garlic. They was little babies. Like, I'm being honest, the stuff that people are telling people to do now because of COVID, she had them kids on that when they were 3 years old, 4 years old, like they were eating like that at that age, you know. So beautiful. All right, I keep saying I got to get out the way, but it's hard for me to do. All right, somebody who's got a question for Ebony? I'm sorry. Who's got a question for Ebony?
Real talk. How many times have you won Teacher of the Year? Come on, give it to me straight.
You know what? I've been nominated and I haven't won.
What school district was that? So I can blast it real quick.
Super biased.
Right. So it's really
super biased.
Have stuff like that. But I was for this for North American Division, I was up for Teacher of the Year. And but the teacher who got it that was at my school, I felt that she was more deserving than I was because she had been in it longer than I was. And she really, really was a good teacher. And I was really, really happy that she won it. But I know one day I'm going to get it. If I got to create it my own self for this.
Eb, just for everybody else's sake, what is your kryptonite? If you could just show me your flaw, if you could just show me, you know what I'm saying? The thin party, something, Eb.
You know what? I think it's Jesus. It's God because he wants me to do this. And like I was saying one time before, traveling on the road, I'm also a singer. And so I was going from the classroom to the stage. And so I made my classroom my stage because whatever I did on the stage, as far as my rehearsals, sound checks, vocal lessons, all those things, I had to practice in my classroom, whether I was doing lesson planning, differentiating from my students, whether I was making sure that they had a proper breakfast. All those things I did from the stage to the classroom. And so I said, it's time to take the stage. And I talk about that a lot, going from the classroom to the stage, because when God wants you to do something, he's going to allow you to do both of them. And I don't drink coffee. I do drink chai tea.
I don't either.
The coffee will have me. I'm already like a little Energizer bunny. That coffee will have me going for about a week. And I'll be like, So no coffee for me. Give me chai tea and I'll be good.
Let's go.
I love it. Can I share my favorite part? When you were talking about the creativity piece, I love tangibles. So like she does go through in the book every single month, like tangible things you can do in your classroom. But even if nobody does any of the tangibles in here, it makes you like want to be a better human, like a good person and a
Better
good
human.
teacher. Really, that's what you feel like when you leave it. I'm like, oh, I feel like you're my bestie over there. We just met. But because really you just want to do better and be better when you read it, even if you don't take the tangibles. But one of my favorite stories from the book, I have lots of favorites, but was the story about the cafeteria that people, and I probably won't get the details right, Ebony, but people were like complaining that the cafeteria was too noisy, that the kids were wild in the cafeteria. And it was like a negative thing, like, oh, nobody wants to go in there. They're wild and it's a problem. And so instead of like buying into that negativity or calling all the parents, and complaining about the kids being whatever, she transformed the cafeteria into like a fancy restaurant and then gave all the kids etiquette lessons, and they played like classical music while they ate. And suddenly the cafeteria is like everyone wants to be in there, and the kids are fabulous. And the other teachers now are like, oh, what happened in there? That was awful. And now it's great. So there's this like problem solving, think outside the box piece, Ebony, that I love about you, that I just relate with so much. Like we don't need to complain about the things the way they are or do things the same all the time, but let's just think differently and let's help the kids have the tools and let's talk about them positively. And when we have those high expectations and we give them the tools, they really are amazing and they can be amazing. And so that was my favorite story that you did in your school.
Yes, I love doing it. I transformed that cafeteria. I mean, I spent some of my own money. I bought tablecloths. I bought forks and knives. And I mean, it just looked like a restaurant because I'm like, you know what? When you go in a restaurant, you're not acting like that in a restaurant. I didn't want to go there. It was, my head hurt every day because when I had cafeteria duty, I didn't want to go in there. And so I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make this into something spectacular. And I put flowers and candles and it was gorgeous in there. And they knew when they came in there that your attitude needed to change. And so that also transferred into the classroom. When you have your classroom in a place that is comfortable for the kids, I had couches in my classroom. I had things like it was house. So you didn't want to mess up your things at your own house. So you're not going to mess up my things in my classroom. So they were comfortable to sit anywhere that they wanted as long as they were on their best behavior. And because they wanted to sit under my tree, I even put a tree in my classroom because sometimes I wanted them to feel like they were outside. And I bought this rug that was green. So they were on the green grass under a tree in my class. And so, I mean, it was just when you set the stage for your student, the expectations of them are high because you have high expectations of them, and they want to please you because you're such a wonderful teacher, and you teachers are wonderful, and your students want to like you, and I wanted them really to like me and to say, hey, I mean, sometimes they call me mom, and I didn't even mind that.
Right.
But when you set the expectations high for your students, no matter what that high is, they're going to achieve it.
Yeah.
For the cafeteria, and it was good.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do we gotta do a full investigation. I feel like the teacher that won, their spouse must have been on the board of decision making there.
Nepotism was definitely involved.
I'm truly involved. And you know how I feel about nepotism.
Now we about to flex ours. We about to flex our nepotism.
We gotta do a full investigation there. I want to say this to those of you, you have to get the book. You have to get the book. Here at Extreme Teacher Podcast, we're all about personal development. Y'all know me. I'm about personal development. I could care less about what I read last year, what I accomplished last year. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? And if you don't maintain it, you lose it, right? And so you got to get this book, right? Ebony, where can we go to get this book?
You can go to my website, www.ebonytholland.com. And it's also on Amazon. You can go there as well and get it. But ebonytholland.com, and it's on Amazon as well.
Good. The name of the book again?
The book is Superstar Teacher, A Guide to Enhance Creativity in the Classroom. You see, I have my cape on.
Beautiful. Talk to me, Val. Talk to me, Val.
Ebony will be highlighting her book with Extreme Teachers, so she'll be highlighting her book on one of our coming Wednesdays, as well as teaching our certified teachers about her book as well. She's going to share that knowledge with us.
Beautiful.
So can she come back, E? We got more questions. Can she come back?
I told you when we have some of us who are missing, you know what I'm saying? Because we saw you know what I'm saying? We're all, and I'm just being honest, we're all so busy. She'll be one of our substitute hosts when you guys can't be there. So we'll definitely bring her back. I also want to say this to those of you. The one thing I learned, from the book, and I'm fortunate, of course, like I said, we're family. So I get to, and my wife is the one who's like always on her page, and she'll be like, hey, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing this, she's doing that. But the thing that I love most about, her practice and the book, guys, you don't have to accept what is, right? Like really for me, that's what I get from the book. You don't have to accept life as it is. You don't have to accept your profession as it is. You don't have to accept your building as it is. Like go to her Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Give us your Instagram. I do Instagram. So what's your handle on Instagram, Ebony?
My Instagram is Ebony T. Holland. I think.
Okay. Yeah. Go there, guys. Look it up right now. Okay. That's it. Okay. Look, go, because you will see Ebony flat out dressed like Wonder Woman one day. You feel me? You'll go another day and see her dressed, in some Christmas outfit. A lot of you complain, your school isn't this, or your district isn't this, or the kids aren't this, and the parents aren't that, and you complain and complain and complain. And I said it earlier, you actually use your own mouth to destroy what God has blessed you with. Out of the mouth comes blessings and curses. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so for me, I don't speak bad about, my wife, or I don't speak bad about my company, or I don't speak bad about my school. It is my responsibility to say, what can I do? I don't speak bad. I try my hardest, to say, what can I do? What changes can I make? And so you'll see, like she said, the classroom has changed. She's changing, her outfit, there's music in the classroom. So as a professional, remember, you went to school for this. You are a pro. In football, they don't quit. In football, they don't give up. In football, basketball, they don't surrender. In baseball, they don't stop playing. They make choices to say, what can we do in the locker room? What can we do in the weight room? What can we do in the film room? What can we do to change our jerseys? What can we do for the fans? Like, what can we do to make this a better team? I want you to ask yourself, what can I do to make this a better school? What can I do to make this a better classroom? What can I do to make this a better district? What can I do to make parents more involved? Stop always complaining or looking outward for something to change. Be the change that you want to see. Ebony, thank you so much for rocking with us today. Put the book up again. Let the people see the book again. Let the people see the book again. All right, it's that time, guys. It's that time.
One more thing. I just got a text from Dee, and she said I need to tell them about my blog about my Superstar Sundays, and just how on Sunday, where if I'm telling you how to prepare meals, like if you can meal plan, telling you what to wear, setting out your clothes, all of those things. So I do have another blog that I call Superstar Sunday. And on that Sunday, I am just going through discipline, what you can eat, what you can wear, how you can make yourself look cute in the daytime, just all kind of stuff on there. So you can check that out as well. Thank you.
I literally was just looking at your Instagram and I thought to myself, hey, she be at home cooking too? Like, it's just too much. It's just too much.
Now, she should have won, now. She should have won. She should have won, now. Hey.
Asking for a recount.
They need to know the whole
we getting a recount. Now, make sure the people, if you're watching Virtue, they have a lot of albums, but I'm not going to say this is my favorite album, but two of my favorite songs are on the Virtuosity. What's this one? Oh, this was the first one, just Virtue. Yeah. Please go get this. All right. I told y'all my favorite song, Greatest Part of Me. When I need to reset, you know, I provide a lot of energy for people, a lot of energy for the world. You know, people pull on me, which is the gift that God gave me. But there are times I need to refresh. I promise y'all, on life, I'm on the treadmill. You know, I'm listening to the greatest part of me. Like, God, you're the greatest part of me. And it's like it recharges me. And then it's those quiet times, you know. And during COVID, a lot of people don't know my career was changed during COVID, you know. I never heard the word social distancing before. You got to think, I was in football stadiums and locker rooms, talking to 5,000, 10,000, traveling internationally, you know. And so COVID changed, you know, my profession as well. And so there were times where, you know, I had more time to think and relax. And, you know, those were my two favorite songs. So please, like she said, the Lord is blessed in song, her sisters, the Lord has blessed them. Make sure you go on whatever you use, Apple, Spotify, whatever you use. Look up their album as well. You'll love the music. It's something you can listen to with your entire family. All right. It's spiritual based, inspirational. There's no cussing. There's nothing vulgar. It's refreshing to the soul. So, Ebony, thank you. I will commission Nell when she's free to start the full investigation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the recount, right? So
the campaign.
Yeah, you feel me? And so at this time, our favorite time, and most of you, your favorite time of the Extreme podcast, Extreme Teachers Podcast, we're going to go to B's office. B, how you holding up?
Man, I am amazing. And just before we even go to the office, one more shout out to Ebony, because it's not often that somebody says your book made me want to be a better human being. That's pretty high praise. That's pretty high praise. So shout out to Ebony one more time. But yep, it's that time to go back to the office, review and recap some of the most impactful points from today's broadcast. And there was a ton of content. We're talking today about how we can establish these relationships, not just with students, but with family as well. So let's jump right into it. Number one, family relationships are important. So before we get to any tactical advice, we first have to understand this one basic fact, which is that students are in your classroom for most of you an hour or less every day, right? For most of you. they're with their parents a lot more than that. So we need to get them on our side. And you heard Sam, get to know them, humanize them, invest in connecting with them the same way that you would with students. The same way that students don't learn from people that they don't like, parents don't want to work with people that they don't like. So invest in that relationship, because it's a powerful force when teachers and parents can become a united front, both focused on the child's success. That's number one. Number two is over communicate, but make it easy. Open communication not only solves problems, but most of the time it prevents them entirely. So it's always better to communicate too much than not enough. But like Katie said, communicate in a way that's easy for you. You want to make it easy for yourself to be consistent. So whether you use the Remind app, whether you keep a classroom website, or like Auntie Val said, have those just because days to actually show parents that when you call, it's not a bad thing. Just make sure you get those real phone numbers like Nell taught you. And then last but not least, number three is never assume. Never assume that a child has a healthy home environment. Never assume that just because a child is doing okay in school, that they're doing okay in life. Never assume. Every kid needs an advocate, and every kid needs someone who quite simply cares about them, looking out for those signs that they may be going through a challenge. So stay on the lookout and don't assume. Real quick, before we get into this next section, though, I want to give you some quotes from our special guest, Ebony, because she had quite a few of them. Number one was, your students want to like you. Keep that in mind. Number two, if the parent respects me, the kids will respect me. And then this one was my favorite. How do you never have problems with the parents? Because I talk to them all the time. I'm not saying it's easy, but Ebony's telling you that it is simple. All right. Now, as for announcements, as always, if you're interested in the Extreme Teachers team coming to your school for a professional development, email us at info@extremeteachers.com and visit our website, www.extremeteachers.com, to learn more about becoming a certified extreme teacher. You can take advantage of our free weekly virtual PDs and check out all of our other products and services designed to help you take yourself and your school to the next level. Plus, don't forget to use the link in the description below to nominate a teacher to be highlighted on the podcast. Now, it's time for our teacher spotlight, but this week we wanted to do something a little bit different because we found this video that was floating around the internet, and we were so impressed by it that we just said we had to show it on the podcast. So check this out.
An act of kindness by a school principal in Warren Township now is helping a student, and it has gone viral over social media platforms.
Yeah, this principal talked with our Steve Jefferson about why he went out of his way for a young man who needed a boost of confidence.
The principal struck a deal with the student, which meant making a trip on the icy roads to keep up his end of the bargain.
You can easily say this photo is not only worth 1,000 words, but also thousands of views after going viral. You see the black beanie on the counter, an 8th grader refused to take it off and ended up in the principal's office.
His barber messed his hairline up. Me and Miss Rivers thought that his hairline looked fine, but he was pretty adamant about not taking the hat off.
Dr. Jason Smith is principal at Stony Brook Intermediate Middle School. Instead of penalizing the 8th grader, he struck a deal with the student.
I said, hey, if I line you up, if I fix your line, we take the hat off and go to class. And he said yes.
So Principal Smith left school despite the snowy roads to get his hair clippers at home.
Coming back to school, I almost got stuck out in the front of my house, because the side streets haven't been cleared.
During the haircut, a school police officer snapped photos and asked permission to post them. Within hours, the post went viral. And more importantly, the principal and student now talk about his future.
I try to bring up, possible careers and things like that to try to get them to think about the future and to dream and set goals.
Principal Smith is an Arlington High School alumnus. Retired principal Dr. Jackie Greenwood pushed him. So now
we work really hard at building relationships and making connections with kids and doing whatever it takes for them to be successful.
And Principal Smith told me since the haircut, the 8th grader is already doing better in school.
Hey, we just found out.
An act of kindness.
We just found out that October is Principal Appreciation Month. So, hey, Dr. Jason Smith, here at Extreme Teachers, we appreciate you. You're extreme, so keep up the great work. And if you happen to be watching, we'd love to have you on the podcast sometime as a guest because that is exactly the type of story that we can all learn from. Now, hearing stories of amazing extreme teachers just like Dr. Jason Smith, it reminds me of the impact that we can all have. And sometimes I think that it's easy to lose sight of that and get caught up in the routine of day-to-day teaching. But this past weekend, E.T. and I visited Oakwood University back in Huntsville, Alabama. And he mentioned earlier that that's his alma mater. And as he was speaking to a group of students, a teacher walked in the back of the auditorium. And he literally stopped what he was saying just to acknowledge her and say that back when he was attending Oakwood, that her class changed his life. See, you don't know who's in your classroom right now. You might have future doctors and lawyers and speakers and leaders. You don't know who's in there. But what you do know is that the experience that they get in your classroom may well play a part in helping them become who they will one day be. So don't doubt your ability to create impact. Don't doubt your ability to create lasting change in a child's life. And don't doubt your ability to impact and literally change the course of someone's life. Because the one thing that I can promise you is that if you believed in you the same way that everybody on this podcast believed in you, you would never doubt yourself for another second of your career or your life. You're watching the Extreme Teachers video podcast. We'll see you on the next one.